Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're looking forward to the weekend, and I've got some exciting stuff planned. I don't, but never mind. Sympathy, please. No, don't bother. Look, let's talk about women's boxing. Now, if you've watched this channel before, you'll know that I'm a big supporter of women's boxing. Why? Because I like boxing. That's the only reason. And I can find a lot of entertainment in the women's code just as I can the men's. The standard, the quality is much, much lower. The talent pool is far shallower than the men's, but nevertheless, there are some good women's fighters. And there's, to me, boxing is entertainment. If I'm watching a good boxing match, and whether it's two, young kids in a small hall event having a 6 round tear up, that's great. If it's as long as there's a competitiveness and you're not sure who's going to win. I mean, none of us really like the sort of 40-36 4 round against the journeyman fights, but on small hall gigs you can normally find some pretty good, well matched stuff. And so the quality of women's boxing, even though it is generally speaking much lower than the men's, it doesn't bother me. If it's entertaining, I'll watch it. And there have been some terrific very entertaining, terrific women's fights over the last 3 years at least. But there's another reason I like watching women's. I like to sort of watch women's boxing, not just the fights, but I like the way it evolves, the way it has evolved, the way it is increasingly taking quantum leaps and improving. Because when I'm in my mid-50s. When I was up until the age of about 40, you had Jane Couch, you had a few other, you had Lucia Riker, Christy Martin, Anne Wolfe. There were a few names, but the women's game wasn't taken seriously, and it wasn't structured very well, and boxing wasn't in the Olympics for women, and so on and so forth. So these were real talents, but they were on the outside looking in. Whereas now, I think certainly since boxing has been in the Olympics, and so I suppose for the last 12 years, it's sort of this incarnation of it. I think it's really interesting watching it evolve. So I'm enjoying watching that side of it as well, because if women's boxing becomes as established in, let's say, future generations or decades' time, it will be great to. I mean, I won't be alive then. But if I live to be 90, and women's boxing is established, and I can say, well, I remember when it first took off, and and do all that old look at my war medal sort of thing. But I do find the evolution of it to be an interesting, probably because I'm interested in things like sociology, anthropology, all that sort of stuff really interests me. So watching it with that kind of angle, with that kind of eye, I do find it interesting, I must be honest. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that women's boxing, they don't like it because women's boxing has been forced upon us. You put a woman's fight in the middle of a big card, or you have the main like the chief support is a woman's world title fight, which no one's really interested in, but they're doing it because it's I hate this word, but it's woke. Nowadays, anything that shows any kind of consideration for anyone else is woke. Well, fuck that. None of us would have the luxuries that we take for granted unless other people, our forefathers and foremothers, didn't give a damn about how things are going, how society is going, what their kids and their grandkids and their great grandkids were going to look like, how they were going to look after themselves, what society was going to look like. So no, giving a damn about other people isn't woke at all. That's called being civilized. That's called humanity. Okay. Although there is such a thing as wokeism, is that the word? And it stinks. In my day it was called political correctness, and it stunk then. And this is the bastard child of it. But I don't quite see the attention given to women's boxing as being cut from that woke cloth. I do agree that it has been forced, that it has been almost socially engineered onto the public's consciousness by, certainly with Sky and Eddie Hearn when he was there and stuff. But at the same time, I don't think it's a case of brainwashing the public. I think it's a case of presenting something that you may or you may not like. And how do you know these things are good or bad unless you sample them, unless you try them? I don't I don't see it as being a case of the again, I'm getting back to this political correctness thing. I don't really see it as being all about that. I see it as being I don't think there's anything wrong with empowering women, with saying that women can be boxers too. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, well, women have got some talent as well. And yes, we're at the beginning of the evolution of this incarnation of it. I mean, you go way back to Barbara Buttrick, and was she in the 40s, 50s? She was a fighter, she's a terrific fighter. But it's good. It's good. It's all inclusive. That women are encouraged to do this, because as we know, unless you're a casual boxing fan who just likes watching people get bloody noses, boxing gives purpose to people. Boxing gives discipline. Boxing gives respect to people. It makes them respectable people and have respect for others. And I see this as a problem. And yes, a lot of women's fights are kind of dull. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are really exciting. But guess what? A lot of men's fights are bloody dull and all. Let's be honest here. So yes, it's been kind of pushed, shall we say, onto the public in some respects. But I don't necessarily see that as a sort of clumsy version of social engineering or wokeism or political correctness. I don't think it's just about that. I think for all I know, when Adam Smith was in charge of Sky, maybe that was his motivation. I don't know. But I do think it's good to present things and say, what do you think of this? Let's give these people a chance. Do you know what I mean? Sky, under Boxer, one of the few good things that Boxer have done at Sky, they had an all-female card. And I think it was it's mixed results, because I'm trying to remember who fought on it. There you go. I can't remember. So it couldn't have been that profound. But of course, you did have the Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields fight, and I seem to remember there was some decent stuff under that. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I probably reviewed a couple of those fights. I can't remember them, so I guess I have to hold my hands up and say, maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot by offering my support. And look, I'm not pretending that everything's cushy-mushy. I'm not pretending that everything is great. I'm not pretending that women's boxing is better than men's. I'm certainly not doing that. I'm not pretending it's more entertaining than men's. But I am saying there's some good stuff there. Michaela Mayer and Hamadouche. We mentioned Shields and Marshall. Obviously Katie Taylor and Serrano. I mean, okay, I'm cherry picking the good ones, but there are some good fights there. There are some good fights. So I say give women's boxing a chance. And I wouldn't dismiss the argument about it being pushed. No, I understand that. I get it. But to simply dismiss it with a contemptuous wave of the hand is, well, I think that's just ignorance. So I say give it a chance. And ultimately, if people don't want it, they won't watch it. It's dead simple. It's like YouTuber boxing. YouTuber boxing doesn't mean anything to me. But let's just say I happened to watch a fight and it was entertaining. I'd be like, oh, okay, fair enough, I get it. But it's aimed at, it's not aimed at people in the mid-50s. It's aimed at these younger people who know who these YouTubers are and they give a damn. I don't. But if it's entertaining, I'll watch it. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to look at the Tommy Fury KSI thing. I'll probably do a review of that. I know Tommy Fury's meant to be a pro boxer, but is he really more than a novice? Is he really ahead of KSI? And I do like watching, the best of the women's game for the same reason. It's entertaining. So I say give it a chance. Give it a chance. Don't close your mind. Keep your mind open. Make a judgment. You may not like it. It's fine. But then, like I say, a lot of men's fights. There are male fighters I'm not interested in watching because I think they're boring. And they might be clinically good and technically good and clinically technically good. Real clinical in their execution, like a Lara or someone like that. But not Maurizio Lara, the other Lara. But generally speaking, if it's boxing, I'll give it a chance. And whether it's men or women, it doesn't really bother me. Whether it's 6-round novices or whether it's Crawford, Spence, doesn't bother me. If it's entertaining and it's evenly matched, I'll watch it. So I say give women's boxing a chance. Don't close your mind. All right, what do you think? You disagree with me? You agree with me? Leave your comments below as normal. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please hit the like button. Yeah, but spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. You know it makes sense. Catch you later. Bye for now.